think I've gone mad, mental. I think I've gone mental because I woke up today and I said to myself, I'm gonna pretend like I'm traveling. Seriously. Like, hold the phone. I'm gonna pretend like I'm gonna be going to catch a flight. Hey guys, that was a really true story. I wanted to record this video so I can share my experiences pre-coronavirus. So so today, I had this itching desire to get up, pretend like I'm going to be catching a flight. Historically, before all this coronavirus pandemic happened, I was gone 95% of the time within a given month. So I travel quite a bit for work, and I go both nationally and internationally for the most part. And it's been a huge adjustment with me having to just stay put. Basically, it's been 3 months. I think I've had to cancel a few flights the beginning of March when this whole thing happened internationally, going out to Europe, because we couldn't travel. There was like travel restrictions for my work. So today I woke up after being indoors or kind of cooped up for about 3 months. And I said to myself, I'm going to pretend like I'm going to take a Lyft or an Uber, which is what I preferably take when I hit the airport. And I'm going to put out my stuff that I use when I basically catch a flight and what I check in my carry-on. So I want to share with you some travel tips, obviously, to give you ideas of what may be useful for you, what you may have not thought about. I've been traveling, I've been on the road. My job has allowed me to be on the road for the last 4 or 5 years straight. And within those times, I've had to perfect the art of traveling. And there is an art to it, I promise you, down to the minutes on when you're catching flights, down to how you board, etiquette, and all that stuff. I've had to learn that, with travel, you have to be very efficient when you're on the road. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to get you through it. This is everything that goes on my carry-on. And I've got a nice carry-on of my choice bag. And we get to essentially the items that I take with me. So before I leave the house, I triple check to make sure that I've got my amazing headphones. And you want the one that has noise cancellation because of the pressure. All flights tend to go about 40,000 feet in the air. And some people, it's pretty irritating to their ears. So you need not only to have an earphone that's efficient, you need to have something that would essentially help you regulate the pressure density when you're on the flight at very high altitude, and also the noise from the engine of the plane technically. So you need a good headphone. If you need to spend a couple of dollars to have something that works really well, I really recommend, especially if you're a traveler, you need a good headphone that works. I've been through a lot of headphones and I find that the Beats are pretty good for helping my travel experiences. I like the cordless ones as well because the less that you have to feel like you're carrying when you're traveling, the better, or wires that's like hanging out. So invest in a good headphone of your choice. And the next thing that I make sure I absolutely do not forget are my phones. So I've got 2 phones, one work phone, one personal, because you can't really keep the 2. You can't really mix personal with business. So I've got 2 phones. I have to make sure that I always have my phones on me when I'm traveling. So phones are very important. iPad is another key that you want to make sure you have when you're traveling. The iPad is important for you to have for 2 reasons. Not all the airplanes are outfitted with an entertainment system. So sometimes you may be in an older aircraft for like a Boeing 737 or Airbus A320, for example. You want to make sure that you have something to entertain yourself with. You want to make sure you download their apps so you can access their free entertainment, or just have your pre-downloaded movies that you're going to watch. So This travel guide essentially is for people who want to embark in, like, an hour travel here, or 4 to 5 hours. These are the most essential things that you should be thinking of having when you're traveling. So a good iPad of your choice is important. Because I work 95% of the time, I have to have my laptop with me as well. So I need to check emails, make sure I productive once I'm airborne, and I have a lightweight, because you definitely do not want to have a brick when you're traveling. Keep it light. The less weight, the more enjoyable your trip would be. So I tend to have my work laptop with me when I'm traveling. The next thing is, when you get in and you're comfortable and you're all boarded, you want to take off your shoes for circulation. To be honest, you should not keep your shoes on longer than like 3 or 4 hours when you're traveling. And this is just based on personal experience, because you cut out the flow of circulation, and circulation is extremely important when you're traveling. So it should be recommended that you should at least take, especially if you've got medical conditions, because some people come out and their feet is literally swollen. So make sure you have comfortable shoes that you wear when you get on the plane. Take off your shoes and then slip these on. I do not recommend taking off your shoes and just walking around with your socks. It's so gross. I'm not saying they're not doing a good job cleaning their flights, but just the germs that you pick up going in and out of the bathroom with other people's shoes that have been stepping on those carpets, disgusting. So invest in one of these. That way, you don't jeopardize basically, carrying germs when you're traveling around the cabin with your socks on, or no shoes, God forbid. We don't want to do that. So invest in one of these. They're very inexpensive too. I think I bought these at the airport, so you can get one. And the other thing, obviously, everyone recognizes, after an hour in of your flight, you need a neck pillow, because, oh baby, your neck gets really stiff. And if they don't give you pillows, and if you're going on like a 3 or 4 hour flight, they tend to not give you pillows unless you're either in economy plus, or you're in first class or business class. So get your own pillow. And even when you're in first class or business class, the pillows that they give you are really, really thin. So I find that I need a really comfortable neck pillow that I can kind of squeeze in and it fits into places and I don't forget it. And the most creative thing known to man is the fact that this little puppy has a hoodie. This is really, really important. So when you're airborne, as I stated with your ears, with the elevation, you need kind of something to control that. And their headphones kind of help with regulating, the pressure within, the elevation or the altitude. The other key thing is the air quality. The air is really dry when you're on a flight. It's dry air. And so you get swollen lymph nodes, so to speak, if you don't, take the right precaution of either staying hydrated or, making sure that, you control the air quality flow that's going through your lungs. So what I found that was helpful for me, because when I do these back-to-back trips, especially long haul trips, I think there was a time I flew from Singapore, came home 1 week, came back from Singapore, and then I had to go back to Beijing, and I had swollen lymph nodes. And when I went to see the doctor told me the reason why you had swollen lymph nodes is because you've been inhaling a lot of dry air, so your lungs or your body has not had the time to adjust, and I had to be put on some medication to essentially control that. So I needed to put some like drops in my nose to kind of help me out with that. But I found that having a hoodie and putting that hoodie over your head helps you control at least a lot of the flow of the inrush of air, dry air that comes through. So invest in one. Hoodies are very, very handy. It gets super cold also in the flights. I'm a very naturally cold person, so I love hoodies. I have to have my hoodie or a sweater when I'm traveling just in case. And if you're not going to take a sweater because you're trying to stay cute, at least have a hoodie to kind of control some of that cold air that you experience when you travel. So a face mask is also something that helps with your travel, especially if you're doing those long hauls. You want to be able to rest, and buying the right one is important. I've got the weightless one with compression, so it's got little beads in it. It really helps. So if you get puffy eye, it helps regulate that, and you can come out of that flight a lot refreshed. You always have to have a water bottle. A water bottle is essential. You have to stay hydrated. My rule of thumb is when I travel and I don't get up and interrupt my neighbor to go and use the bathroom, I am not properly hydrated. They give you small cups of waters in those like blue plastic if you're flying United. You need to have your own water bottle. Get your empty water bottle, get it through TSA, and then make sure you refill either at the fountain close to the bathrooms at the airport, or you buy your water bottle. You buy your water and then you pour it in your bottle so you have something to drink when you are traveling. But you want to stay hydrated. I mean, it's like the one thing everybody tells you, you need to drink water when you're traveling, especially if you are traveling long distance. Always have an empty bottle with water in it. And then I tend to have a book because if you're like me, I get bored fast. I get tired of listening to the same old songs. I get tired of, watching movies. I get tired of doing work on my computer. I want to crack a book and I want to read and zone out. I think this comes in handy if you do travel to Singapore. If you've ever taken a Singapore direct flight, I think the longest flight recorded is the one going to Singapore. It's like 18 hours straight in there. Like you feel like you're trapped in an airplane. But you want to have a variety of different options to kind of keep yourself entertained. And I find that having a book just as an option for you helps with making sure that you completely stay entertained when you're in your little 24-hour cell. And then you want extra headphones. I cannot stress this enough. This may die, it may malfunction. You always want to have an extra pair of headphones to carry with you to ensure that you have entertainment at your beck and call. Okay? Then I've got my bag. And in my makeup bag, I want to share with you what comes in there. And I'm very excited because the first thing I'm going to tell you to make sure you have is perfume. I feel like everybody should have like a small bottle of perfume when they're on the road, period, because you essentially, after sitting for a while, tend to accumulate like a little funk, like I say, if not for nothing, your neighbors. When you've got somebody that has just bad manners and they cannot stop farting, you need something to disinfect that or control some of that, because trust me, I've had flights where you get people who just cannot control it and they stink up the place. And not for nothing, when you get off a long flight, like a 4 or 5 hour flight, you've been sitting in the flight for a very long time, you want to be able to go and freshen up really quickly. Quite frankly, you want to be able to freshen up. And to freshen up, you need a perfume of your choice. You need deodorant. Everybody needs to have this on the fly. Like this should be like a stash everybody like hands to each other and be like, yes, I feel you. Here you go. Here, this is for you. Thank you. Yes. Okay. No problem. All right. I'm going to stop. But you need to have a small deodorant of your choice carry on with you, because when you do those 4, 5, 6 hour flights, you're just sitting in one place for a very long period of time and your body needs to kind of recover and stay refreshed. The next thing is, now that we've controlled our pits, The next thing you need, I can't even talk. The next thing you need is a breath spray. If you don't want to use a breath spray because this basically is masking the issue, I recommend always carrying a toothbrush with you. And because this goes in the back, I make sure that my toothbrush is covered. I need it to get sealed. You can buy this at Target for like $1 or so, just to kind of protect it, because there's a lot of germs and bacteria and you don't want to have inflated gums. So make sure you invest in a toothbrush and have that with you when you are flying, because your mouth gets dry and you accumulate bad breath, and you want to be able to have fresh breath, especially if somebody is picking you up, a friend or a loved one or whatever the case might be. You do not want to be blowing that hot air in your friend's face. So a toothbrush and a toothpaste is important, or use your breath spray. And then you need an earplug. I feel like, especially if you have like little kids on the flight, I don't think my headphones help. What helps is my earplugs. And these earplugs that I use are not the kinds that you stick in your ear. They're the ones that essentially, I think swimmers use these brands as well. And I find that this is a lot more comfortable when you're sleeping in, because it's not poking in your ear. It's kind of like a silicone gel that like just molds to your eardrums, and it's very comfortable. You can sleep on it. It's not very inconveniencing, and it really cancels a lot of the noise. You don't hear anything. So I recommend one of these. And if you're like me, you're a light sleeper, you want to have these also in your hotel room, because the walls sometimes tend to be thin and I need complete silence when I sleep. So really have one of these when you're traveling. It's very, very important. Always have hand sanitizer. With the coronavirus pandemic now, you not only need a hand sanitizer, you need to be able to have wipes to wipe down the area. You can use your hand sanitizer and a tissue if you don't want to carry too much stuff. Same thing, wipe down the area before you sit down in the chair, and the seat tray and the windows. If you're by the window, wipe everything down. Make sure you have your mask. Make sure you wear your gloves. Stay protected. When you're in that confined space, there's a lot of airborne germs, and that's a given. And what you need to make sure you equip your immune system with is some vitamin C. So before I get on my flight, I take one of these. During the flight or when I'm about to land, I take another one, because your immune system does tend to get compromised. So like I said, when I travel to like Portugal overnight and I have a meeting in the morning at 8 a.m., I'm already low on sleep, because you don't really sleep well when you're on a flight. So your immune system starts to get compromised because you're not getting adequate amount of sleep. And when you don't have adequate amount of sleep, you all know you get sick. So make sure you have emergencies or vitamin C's or any vitamins of your choice that help to boost your immune system so you don't get sick on your trips. And then you need moisturizer. So if you wash your face, if you've got wipes or whatever the case might be, always have your moisturizers to freshen up. When you wash your hands, when you come out of the bathroom, you want to be able to have something to moisturize your hands with so they're not dry. So I use that, and it's dual use, so you can use this on your hands or you can use this on your face, depending on what works for you. Okay? You still with me? I'm almost there. The last thing you need that I absolutely recommend is jet lag repellent. I have this homeopathic tablets that I take you to before you land, and they're very effective. So if you do international travels when your body's completely out of whack and you're on crazy time zones, even if you're going from like New York to California, I feel like there is a crazy time difference and you need to be able to kind of adjust to it. This really, really works, and I recommend that. So that's really it for what goes into my carry-on bag. There's another whole segment that I can shoot showing you what I put into my actual travel suitcase, depending on which countries I go to, or you know, the places and the meetings I attend. But I think, you know, this gives you a good idea or a good baseline of what to think about when you travel. So I hope you enjoyed, and you subscribe and you click the like button, and thank you so much. Take care, guys.